Hi, and welcome to another episode of Australian Caravan and Camping Adventures.
We begin our adventure in St George, approximately 5 hours west of Brisbane. Named by Sir Thomas Mitchell in 1846, this quaint town is situated along the banks of the Balonne River. Some of the main attractions include the unique egg, a small museum displaying carved emu eggs, the playgrounds and walks along the riverfront, and River Sands vineyards. Open from 9 to 5 on Mondays to Saturdays and 9 to 4 on Sundays, it's worth a visit to enjoy a free wine tasting session. I must say, this was one of the most casual wine tasting sessions I've ever been to, which has made it all the more memorable. Our accommodation in St George was at the Pelican Rest tourist park. We loved our stay here because of the wonderful facilities such as a heated pool, and the sites were drive-through and spacious, providing us with room to fit both the caravan and a pop-up tent. A clean toilet and laundry block was nearby, as was the camp kitchen that had its very own fireplace. The next morning we made our way west towards Kanamala, approximately 3 hours away. This is where the road trains become a more common sight and where the red dirt starts to make an appearance. Travelling with a toilet-trained 3-year-old means that frequent toilet breaks are a must. It also gave us plenty of opportunities to stretch our legs and grab a few snacks from the fridge before continuing on our journey.
Tell us where we're going. What's our next stop?
I can't remember.
Can't remember? We're going to Charlotte's Plains.
With the COVID pandemic cancelling many of our planned holidays, it had been a long time since our last adventure, and a long time since Matt had piloted his drone. Don't worry, it didn't take him long to figure out how to fly again. Situated 50 kilometres outside of Kanamala is Charlotte Plains, where you can experience a hot artesian bath, and there's plenty of camping spots for everyone. A family-owned and operated sheep station, Charlotte Plains is home to an amazing campground that boasts its very own artesian bore baths. $10 will give you access to these bathtubs for the entire day.
I want a bath. I want to get out of the bowl. I want to get out of the bowl.
At 40 degrees Celsius, this water is hot, so it was to no surprise that Ella was upset when we struggled to sit on a sinking kayak and ended up falling right in. There's something about sitting in 40-degree water on a hot Outback day that brought our experience to a quick end. Nothing that the shade of the caravan with an ice-cold drink couldn't fix, though. Kanamala has a population of 1,200 people and is the last large town that we'd encounter during our trip. There are plenty of cafes, a large playground, and a museum to explore. Behind me is the Kanamala fella statue, and even further back you can go to the information centre where you can find a little museum, and apparently in there there's the artesian time tunnel. Let's go check it out. $8.50 you can enter the Artesian Time Tunnel, where you'll get to watch a movie about the Artesian Basin for about 25 minutes, and then you can explore the museum.
Do you want to have a bar? Well, at the museum, at a bar.
What flavour are you eating, Ella? Oh, mini chicken crimpy, yummy. The Artesian Time Tunnel is a pretty well done exhibition in the museum, but I probably wouldn't recommend taking young children through the first part of it. It was just a bit too scary for Ella. Please enter, slide door. Whoa, what's inside? What's inside? Oh no! You okay? Oh my goodness.
He said, horses don't worry me. In those days we're still using horses. He said, I don't care how wild they are or how quiet they are. He said, I won't go near them. Yeah, no, it's sort of rather incredible. They jumped up to 2 miners to 3 or 4 and it's just kept growing ever since. We've got about 150 people there today.
Yeah. It's making food.
G'day, I'm Doug, and I've been sinking bores in these parts for more than 20 years.
Tea and coffee on the freezer as well. Toilets are there, art galleries down this laneway. This is all the museum, and this is the theatre. So go in there. You want to get a
Wow.
You want coffee?
You can hold it.
Right, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, this one here. Yeah, hold it.
Next to the museum and information centre is a huge playground in a nice, cool, shady spot. When you're in Kanamala, you can't go past the Kanamala coffee shop. This is where we got a decent coffee with almond milk and some camel burgers made from local camel meat. Alright, so we got some camel burgers from the Kanamala coffee shop. That's what it looks like. It has camel meat on it, so let's give this a shot. Just tastes like beef. Pretty good. Here's Terry having a camel burger. How is it? Great. We set up camp at the Warrego Riverside Tourist Park, with campsites surrounded by beautiful fruit plants and flowers. Originally we had planned to pitch our tent next to the riverside, but preferred the private and comfortable powered site instead, which was close to the clean facilities. How's it look? You try it? Look at me. Does it taste yummy? How's it taste? Was it sweet? Or was it sour? Don't eat the green bit. How did it taste? What do you think? Good? Beyond the activities advertised at the information centre, we decided to explore the real Kanamala by driving around the local streets and tracks. We passed the Alan-Tannock Weir to encounter the local wildlife and amazing change in weather. We were going for a little drive and just out past Kanamala, past our tourist caravan park, and on the side of the road we saw this little guy here, a little echidna. He's pretty shy though, so he keeps curling up. There's a couple of them. Oh, did you see the goats? During our drive, we noticed patches of orange in the sky. We could see that a storm was about to hit us, but thought this a great opportunity to get out of the car and take some photos. Soon other patches of orange appeared, and it wasn't long before the orange dust covered the sky. I thought it best that I get Ella back into her car seat so that we could make a run for it as the storm got closer. When I realised that my camera wasn't focusing and I was starting to get dust in my eyes, I knew we had to make a run for it. We have a big storm coming through Kanamala and Matt's tying down the tent as much as possible. We've just seen a big sandstorm and now the rain has hit. Let's hope our tent survives this. Alright, well our tent survived the storm, but it got a bit wet in just the entrance. The 30-minute storm didn't cause too much damage, but it did cause a power outage and loss of water at the caravan park. After a dinner by torchlight and a good sleep, we were glad to be getting out of there and continuing west on our journey towards Quilpie.
6 babies, 1 emu.
Look, can you see the
And
emus?
there's 7 babies. All popping up.
It's the baby emus.
Stopping.
You want to pat them?
Car coming.
Due to the heavy rain, our original plan to head through Kilcowera Station and onto Cameron Corner could no longer go ahead, as the dirt roads were closed. Our detour would take us through a couple of towns to Quilpie before we would make our way down to Nocundra in the opposite direction. Hopefully this would give the dirt roads time to dry before we got there. Eulo was our first experience of the many small towns we would encounter. With a population of 50, it's worth a stop to check out the old buildings, opals, and Diprotodon statue. This was also the beginning of having no phone reception, so the sight of an old telephone booth didn't seem so funny after all. Our journey to Quilpie would have us stopping in the opal mining town of Yowa, which was recommended to us by a traveller in Kanamala. The rain provided us with several puddles and some much larger water crossings. It was pretty exciting to see this much water in the Outback. Yowa seemed very much like a mini version of Lightning Ridge. As we drove through the town, it seemed kind of empty. Even the information centre was closed. But our main reason for stopping in Yowa was to experience the artesian bore swimming pools, which were well worth the journey out here. Complete privacy was what we got at the Yowa Artesian Bore Bath Spa. For $3 a person, we enjoyed both pools of varying temperatures. These spas were much cooler than the water experienced in Charlotte Plains. Want to fossick for opals? We literally looked through the rocks on the floor of the car park and sprinkled water on them to see if we could see any opal shining through. I must say we weren't very good, but Ella was pretty happy with her new rock collection. The ever-changing landscape is what continuously draws me back out to the Outback. It's not until you experience it firsthand that you truly appreciate what every twist and turn has to offer. We arrived at Channel Country Tourist Park and Spas in Quilpie at 5 p.m. Though the park was very full and we hadn't made a reservation in advance, we were kindly welcomed in and provided with a large powered site next to the spas. After filling the tanks, we made our way over to Baldy Top for a quick hike up to an amazing lookout. Just outside of Quilpie, there's the Baldy Top lookout. You just park on the side of the road down here, and then there's a walking track up to the top. We'll let you know how long it takes. Travelling anywhere with a toddler means you're going to have to add on a couple of minutes to every activity. Whilst Ella wasn't keen to walk the entire way, she was able to do a lot of this hike on her own. Are there any animals in there, Ella? We made it to the top! So we made it to the top of the mountain, and I think it took us approximately 15 minutes to get to the top, but that was because we stopped for some photos and we were walking at toddler pace for a while before picking her up and climbing up the top. So I think if you were on your own and you were relatively fit, you'd probably do this in about 5 to 10 minutes. After a scenic start to the morning, we are on our way to Aramanga, the town furthest away from the sea in Australia. It also has a tiny population of 45 people that hosts the largest dinosaur bones in the country. We stopped to have lunch at the Royal Hotel and were pleasantly surprised by how tasty the food was out here. After lunch, I was keen to check out the Aramanga Living History Centre. When I asked the manager at the Royal Hotel for the key to access the museum, I was unfortunately told that it had closed at 1:30 and it was now 1:50. This was because of COVID, you know. It seemed like more of an excuse to have one less building to manage, but I guess they had had a pretty busy afternoon with 4 groups of people in the cafe. It is a very tiny country town after all. You broke out of jail! Quick, run over here! We decided to skip the dinosaur bones, which were 3 kilometres south of the town, as we had already experienced the dinosaur museum in Winton and were keen to get to our next campsite. Instead, we stopped at the Notosaurus Park, as we promised Ella we'd see some dinosaurs here.
Why not? Might as well.
Nothing too major here.
Oh, it's a real...
No, it's up on the next road.
There's one on this road.
No, it's up on the next road.
There's one on this road too. Okay.
And turn your car off because it's dusty as anything and it's going to spray into your airbox.
To get to our campsite, follow the road out of Aramanga towards Nocundra for about an hour. This place was located through wiki camps and requires campers to be completely self-contained. Though the flies were out in full force throughout the day, Cave Hill Quarry remains one of the most stunning highlights of our trip. What's there to do at Cave Hill Quarry besides enjoying the view with a glass of wine in hand? Why, going for a skate around the place on your electric skateboard, obviously. One of the reasons we sold our camper trailer and opted for a pop-up tent this trip was due to the setup and pack-up time. The tent was a much quicker option, and these drillable tent pegs were super convenient. Hey, happy anniversary! The golden light glows upon the auburn cliff face as the white powdery sand trails over the dark ashy ground. Soon the sun will set and the bright red hues will be drawn out in the land. Cave Hill Quarry is not somewhere that you'll find if you Google it, but if you have a look on Wikicamps you'll find it, and it's absolutely amazing. Situated just a little bit outside of Aramanga, you'll find this amazing red cliff here, and you can enjoy the sunset with a glass of wine. I wasn't sure what animals we'd hear throughout the night, but besides the 2 road trains that drove past, the rest of the night was silent. The next morning we headed towards Nocundra, hoping that the road to Cameron Corner would be open. Without reception, there was no way of knowing what lay ahead. Wow, horses! So many of them. Built in 1882, the Nocundra Hotel provides accommodation, a pub, facilities for free camping along the river, and in our case, they were our local information centre, informing us of road closures in the area. They also had a friendly cat that Ella adored.
Here last night, came in quarter today, and then got to get tomorrow night. Leaving the van here, but so we'll make.
Alright, we are at Nocundra Hotel, and unfortunately our route is still closed. We did do a little bit of a backwards loop up to Quilpie to try and get here when the roads are open, but it's still closed, so we'll have to check it out again tomorrow. Hello? Considering that camping is free, the toilet block is actually quite nice. The brown water is a little off-putting, but is pumped straight from the river and doesn't have a smell like the bore water showers we encountered in Quilpie. There are plenty of campsites along the riverfront, so it's worth driving along the banks until you find the perfect spot. And even though I thought we were prepared with mosquito repellent and coils, I still managed to get eaten alive. My advice is to apply double or even triple the amount of repellent that you usually would, and make sure you do this regularly. Unfortunately, our trip to Cameron Corner was put to a halt as the road was damaged by the storm, leaving a 2-metre hole in the middle of it. The staff at Nocundra Hotel were able to cancel our accommodation at the Cameron Corner store for us before we headed towards Thargomindah. It was windy when we packed up at Nocundra, but we had no idea what we were about to encounter during our drive. At first we pulled over to the side of the road thinking that the dust would settle eventually. When we realised that it wasn't going anywhere, we had no choice but to drive through it. This was definitely a first for all of us. Thargomindah was a pleasant sight after having been in small country towns for quite some time. It's worthwhile checking out the cafe, information centre and library at Echidna Place and grabbing something to eat from the Thargomindah Roadhouse. Due to the strong winds, it was unfortunate that we weren't able to spend more time wandering the streets to admire the old architecture. Luckily, we were back in reception, and we were able to look up the road closures ourselves. We were even able to contact Kilcowera Station, who are situated on a dirt road, and were given the thumbs up to access their property. Hitting our first lot of dirt road, we stopped by the side of the road to lower our tyre pressures before enjoying a more comfortable drive. We were so excited that Kilcowera was open, as this campsite gets 5 stars on Wikicamps. A lot of reviews raved about the self-guided driving tour, so we were keen to check this out for ourselves.
Station tour.
This place gets such high reviews.
The campsite at Kilcowera was lovely and spacious. To top this off, the grass was advertised as being free of bindies, which was a pleasant surprise after having so many bad encounters with bindies thus far. Running hot water in the showers was an interesting process, as you had to turn on the sprinklers at least 10 minutes before your shower to allow the hot bore water to move through a couple of meters of pipe before hitting the shower head. Okay, good girl, Ella. You get a marshmallow tonight.
Can you see that Christmas light?
You have a look at it. You
Oh
go,
no, Matt, that's
I
barbed
know.
wire.
Like that wind shooter.
I'm not. Oh.
We arrived in Kilcowera yesterday, but the winds were too crazy, so we stayed in the caravan for majority of the afternoon. Today we've woken up to some nice sunny bright day. It's a bit cold here, which is a bit strange after being so hot in so many places. But we're off to the self-guided tour and we're ready to explore what it has to offer.
Hi, Dada.
We were told that the self-guided tour would take approximately 6 hours,
Keep pushing.
but we managed to do the drive in 5. Though the drive itself isn't incredibly long, there are a lot of points of interest that will have you getting out of the car to explore and take photos. Oh, and there are plenty
Great
of
work,
gates that
Ella.
need to be
You wanna
opened and
change
shut
through?
along the way.
Up here. I'm gonna stick it on. All done. Can you check it? Excellent. All right, let's jump in the car.
When you arrive at Kilcowera, you are provided with a folder that gives you a map and directions for the driving tour, which are really easy to follow.
Big. Should fly that bother me?
We're on the self-guided tour, and so far we've seen some beautiful wildflowers and we've seen a herd of wild goats. Matt's just jumped out with the drone to see if he can capture them. How's the self-guided tour so far, Ella? What do you think? Do you have anything to say about it?
I'm still hot.
You're still hot. Okay. We're about an hour into our trip and we can see the lake for the very first time.
Wow. You can sit on one of those rocks right at the back, Ella.
No snakes there, is it? I was going to say, I wouldn't let her walk by herself. No one's allowed to talk to your mother.
The highlight of this tour is when you hit Lake Wyara. Due to the heavy rainfall, we were able to see this saltwater lake the fullest it's been in a very long time. After a big day of driving, it was nice to get back to the campsite to relax and have an outdoor bath in some hot bore water.
How's your pool, Ella? Is it nice and warm?
After 2 comfortable nights at Kilcowera, we were back on the road to explore the Carowinia National Park.
What a splash does.
Whoa!
We stopped at Hungerford, a town that's situated on the border of New South Wales and Queensland. It was definitely a new experience to see the border shut and the warning signs on the fence. There were also many unique statues that were a huge point of interest for Ella. When in Hungerford, make sure to check out the Royal Mail Hotel and grab yourself a famous steak sandwich.
We've got two purple. No, I don't want the flower. No.
There are plenty of walks at the Carowinia National Park. One of the easiest of these is the Granites, which is a flat 1.5 kilometre return walk. These amazing boulders of granite have been dated between 230 and 310 million years old. We arrive back in Kanamala for a night of convenience and comfort before continuing our journey home. I cannot tell you how good it feels to get back into reception. What do you think of the baby chinos in Kanamala? 1 star? 2 stars? 3? 4? 5 stars? Oh my goodness, that must be delicious. There's a first time for everything, and this was our first cracked windscreen. An entourage of cars were driving past us when a large rock flicked up from the wheel of a car and hit us. The hit was loud and the damage a little scary. Luckily, we were towards the end of our journey and our window held up until we got home. Thank goodness insurance covered this completely. The final night of our trip was in St. George, and we were craving the comforts of home so much that we decided to indulge in a bit of luxury. How's your baby milk, Ella? Is it nice?
Finished.
Do you want another one? This is Ella's sleeping spot tonight. She's in the cave. Ooh, show me your cave, Ella. Is it fun in here? Oh no, the bear got me! Whilst we didn't make it to our intended destination of Cameron Corner, we encountered the most amazing landscapes and weather and look forward to our next Australian adventure.